North Idaho College proudly presents NIC Today, an informational news magazine that highlights the people, programs, and campus life at North Idaho College and the surrounding community. And now, your host and moderator, President of North Idaho College, Dr. Joe Dunlap.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to North Idaho College Today. This is the program that provides insight into the people and the programs that make North Idaho College work. And today we're going to talk about dual credit courses and programs. And with us today we have Ginger Winckler, who is our dual credit director. So welcome, Ginger.
Thank you.
And also we have Dr. Lita Burns, who is our vice president for instruction. So welcome back, Lita. It's good to have you here as well.
Good morning, Joe. It's nice to be here.
Ginger, why don't you tell us a little bit about what dual credit is and how it works?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. The Idaho legislature started dual credit in about 1997, and NIC has been a player since that time. So what it does is it gives high school students the opportunity to take college classes either in their high school, on campus, online, in order to earn both college credit and high school credit.
And so how does that work in terms of qualifying faculty to teach and also where those courses are delivered?
Well, the statute really is intended for teaching courses in the high school. The high schools are where the students typically spend their day, and going to a campus is less convenient than offering it at a high school. So nationally and in Idaho, the statutes typically refer to taking courses at the high school. Those courses are typically taught by high school teachers who've been qualified by a college institution to be able to teach the college course. And the key there is that the college instruction, or the campus has to guarantee the college instruction in the high school. So we work with and facilitate and mentor the high school teachers who become instructors for us.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about how many students typically participate each year and how we've grown to that point.
Well, since about 5 years ago, we've grown to around 900 students. I believe 5 years ago we were substantially lower than that. We offer courses in the high schools, but only about 15% of our courses currently at NIC are held in the high school. The remainder are being taught on campus, and then about 35% are being taught online and by video conferencing. Today's students are really very comfortable with the online environment, and so when a high school student's schedule doesn't really accommodate perhaps taking a class at a certain time, because maybe they want to take drama, or they're in band, or they need to leave early for sports or something like that. So sometimes their schedules don't accommodate physical face-to-face classes, and so the online course offerings that the college can provide are really helpful in those cases.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lita, as the new Vice President of Instruction, you've had an opportunity to look at many of our challenges and also our growth opportunities. So can you talk a little bit about where we will be going with dual credit over the next few years?
Certainly. You know, it's not surprising to be able to identify that dual credit is one of our greatest opportunities to grow in terms of attracting new students to the college. The dual credit students add to our FTE, for one thing, so our full-time equivalents of students here at the college, which is important to us. But also, it is a great recruiting tool for us too. We know that the students who come to NIC as dual credit students very often then follow through and attend NIC as their choice of colleges to attend. So we are looking at this as one of our great opportunities to continue to sustain growth at North Idaho College and to be able to provide instruction to the service area that we are required to service, that 5 northern counties of Idaho.
Okay. Mark?
One of the things that I often hear of out in the community is, oh, it's so much cheaper for you guys to provide online courses. And the reality is quite different, though, isn't it? There are hard costs associated. What are the things that the college has to provide in terms of online instruction that really mandate certain costs be met?
You're asking specifically? Well, one of the things I would tell you with online classes, besides supporting the infrastructure for online classes, the technology itself, but typically our online courses, we have a different student to teacher ratio than we do than we keep in the in-classroom. So typically for online classes, that ratio is much lower of students to faculty. So as we add online courses, obviously there's a greater need for faculty because we're putting fewer students into those courses.
So we have to add more people to teach those.
So that is an added cost as well.
So it really is a personnel cost then, that it's not as though, all right, we have 30 students typically, I'm not sure what the number is, in a traditional classroom. Well, you can have 100 students and effectively teach that online. That it really works in the opposite way.
Absolutely, it works. And we have established at North Idaho College like about a 15 student up to 20 students for our online classes, whereas we have some face-to-face classes that would be upwards of 45 to 60 students.
To larger. Wow.
Now, Mark Browning, who is here with us today, is our Vice President of Government Relations and Marketing. And so, Mark, you've been here less than a year now. And from your perspective, what are some of the challenges we have in marketing the dual credit program?
I think initially that there is that perception that it's far less expensive to offer an online course. And the reality is, and I think as both Lita and Ginger are mentioning, that there's costs associated not only with personnel but in training, professional development with those folks. You know, being an online instructor is a different animal than it is in a traditional classroom, and they don't always equate. You may have a very effective, highly qualified and effective teacher in the traditional classroom that simply isn't as effective in an online environment, and vice versa. They are different skill sets. And I think for challenges for us in terms of the community is getting folks to understand we're really looking at two different sets of skills here for an instructor to be really successful. I think the other side too is just for those of us who are not digital natives. You know, we haven't grown up with technology. We've had to embrace it. Lita, you mentioned, or Ginger mentioned that students today, typically the high school students taking dual credit, they're very comfortable with technology. They've grown up with it. It's second nature to them. But for us that are in some of the policy sides and the operational sides, we have trouble saying, okay, you can get an effective educational experience online versus sitting physically in the classroom. Sometimes we put more impediments in there than are probably warranted.
Okay. Ginger, why don't you talk a little bit about the types of courses that are offered through the dual credit program, and also the types of courses that are not offered through that program.
Okay. Sure. The typical courses that we'd like to offer in the high school would be very core courses that would transfer to just about anywhere. And that's one of the myths of dual credit, the transferability. You know, when it's English 101 from NIC, it's English 101 from NIC regardless of the location of where you take the course. And so we offer the core courses like English, mathematics, chemistry, biology, political science, history, courses that are core that all students generally will need to take prior to, as they earn their degree.
And then are there courses that we typically don't offer? For example, do we offer any career and technical programs through dual credit?
You know, in some states, dual credit and tech prep programs are a little bit more integrated in their approach. But in Idaho, we have very separate programs for those functions. And so dual credit has typically been the academic transfer programs. There's really nothing that would preclude us from offering a course as a dual credit, meaning college credit and high school credit, that's not a regular academic course, but typically that isn't the direction that we've gone with dual credit.
Okay. And
may
go
I
ahead,
add to
Lita.
that discussion? I would say one of the things that probably does limit us is just the nature of professional technical education being so hands-on, and being able to provide the technology, the equipment, all the supplies that are needed to do those hands-on programs. And so at this point, that's why we really haven't engaged in offering the professional technical education programs as dual credit. Certainly we do offer a lot of the prerequisites towards those PTE programs as dual credit courses, but we can't duplicate all that equipment.
The other side of that too is in our primary service area, which are the 5 northern counties here in Idaho. We have the new technical education high school campus in K-Tech, the Kootenai Technical Education Center, which serves the Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, and Rathdrum Lakeland School District. So for those students right within Kootenai County, for them to get those, we are funneling a lot of our support and efforts into helping K-Tech further their mission for those high school students there as well.
Now, if I'm a dual credit student, Lita, can you tell me how I go about receiving that college credit? How do I get that transcripted and receive a transcript? So if I transfer, for example, or go to University of Idaho, how do they know that I took a course while I was in high school that received college credit?
Well, interesting enough, when the student registers through their high school and through North Idaho College as a dual credit student, they become an NIC student as they remain a high school student. So they take the course, and at the end of the course, when the grade is assigned and appears on the transcript, as Ginger stated earlier, it appears as an NIC course as any other NIC course would appear. So there really is no designation to that student that that particular English 101 or Psychology 101 was a dual credit. It appears just as if they had been on campus or online taking an NIC course. So when the transcript is then transferred to University of Idaho or to Berkeley or to wherever it's transferred, it transfers as English 101.
Okay. And so again, if I'm a dual credit student and I'm an aggressive student, is it possible for me to receive an associate's degree and a high school diploma simultaneously? Ginger?
Yes, we've had, up to 15 to 20 students. That's probably the maximum, but we've had a number of students around that amount in each year that do both. They typically tend to engage at NIC almost full-time when they do that, because that's really the only way to accomplish both of those goals at the same time. But yes, you can do it. It's an exception. Typically, of this 900 students we had last year, there's just a small number that actually received the associate's degree prior to graduation from high school. But they can earn a substantial number of credits, and many do now. So rather than just taking one English class, they take English, psychology, history, chemistry. They may get a good 1 to 2 semesters worth for sure.
Okay. Yeah, Lita.
Add to that just a little. As a parent of local graduates from high school here, and most recently this spring, attending my own daughter's graduation from Lake City High School, it was very impressive to me the number of students that they announced as graduating both from Lake City High School and from North Idaho College with their associate's degree. So I was very proud of not only the students, but proud to hear that they were making that special announcement that these students were receiving both the associate degree and their high school diploma at, within a month of each other, basically. And both of my children took dual credit classes while they were at Lake City High School, and I'm glad that they got that little bit of a jump start for North Idaho College when they attended North Idaho College.
I'll tell you from a parent perspective what I like about it, and I'll just tell you, it's a great way to save some money on post-secondary education, because the cost for a dual credit student to take college credit classes is $65 a credit versus $119 here, or if you were to go through the University of Idaho, it's closer to $300. So now I'm not a math person, but I can tell you that $65 is a pretty good price. So it's a great way for you to not only get your high school students started down that post-secondary path, but to save a lot of money at the same time.
Okay. Well, let me ask one more question of Ginger, and that is, Ginger, can you talk about the success rate of our students? Now, we don't have the most students enrolled in dual credit in the state, but I think we've got some fairly impressive success rate or persistence rates that our students have achieved.
I don't have exact data to give you, but I can tell you that anecdotally we have a high success rate with the students when they're in the classes. And one of the reasons for that is we really encourage the students to be committed to taking a college course. And because they're taking it at a college level and they understand that and we hold them to that level of accountability, we are able to have a high level of success. And I think that's one of the key elements of the program. The best thing we can do is give a high school student a positive experience with a college class in order for them to view themselves as college ready and ready to go on and complete their degree.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ginger and Lita, and I'll turn this back over to Mark.
Really appreciate you guys being here today because it really is about the students, and we have a new feature that we like to highlight here on NIC today, and it is from our students. The topic this month is about bullying. This particular video presentation is entitled The Domino Effect, and it won first place in the national competition. Take a look.
Okay.
Well done.
I wish they'd stop picking on me.
How's yours? Fine. I can't believe you fell asleep in class. I'll be quiet. Oh, hey guys. What's so funny?
There he is! Let's get him!
Ah! Oh my gosh, guys! Knock it off! Guys, knock it! Knock it off!
What do you mean?
No, stop chasing him! Stop!
Hey, did you get your homework done? Did you get your homework done? Go do it!
There he is! Get him!
Look at loser!
What's this? An F. What an embarrassment. What a loser.
Just keep on
Why'd you make yourself useful? Wash the car, you loser.
About 30 seconds away.
wish they'd stop picking on me.
So let's go quiet on the set for the credit roll, and then we'll come back to you, Mark.
Bullying is toxic. From the ground up, I've seen students affected by bullying from the time that they were small until they're adults. Bullying can change the entire moral compass of where they're going to go because they stop believing in themselves. Not always, but the more that they are infected by it, the more it will affect their behavior. Bullying can actually lead to suicidal thoughts and feelings, much more often than another person may think.
Okay, so here's the roll. We'll let it roll a little bit. We'll come back to you, Mark.
Very impressive indeed. You saw the name as the executive producer, Philippe Val, who is the instructor of our graphic and video arts programs here at North Idaho College. His students are actually in the studio today helping with the production, and we want to tell them thank you very much for not only providing that piece, but for all the great work that they do. It is truly impressive, Joe, the students we have here and the work they do. And now we've got another new guest to welcome to the studio here today.
Exactly. Yeah, those students have won a lot of awards, as has that program, and we certainly appreciate the work that they do. Well, today we have our newest trustee, Todd Banducci. Welcome, Todd. We're very happy to have you here, and congratulations on your recent win in the election, and welcome to North Idaho College. As a starting point, why don't you tell us a little bit about who Todd Banducci is so that the folks out there can get a little better understanding of who you are?
Well, I guess I'll start with here from Coeur d'Alene. My wife and I both graduated from Coeur d'Alene High School in 1981. So, local fellow. Attended the United States Air Force Academy and served in the Air Force active duty for over 10 years and in the reserve since. My wife and I relocated here, raised our two sons, Paul and Marcus. My older son Paul lives in Post Falls with his wife, and I have a beautiful little 2-year-old granddaughter.
Well, congratulations on that. We just had twins 2 months ago, and during Thanksgiving was the first time we had the opportunity to see them over in Seattle. So I understand the joy and the wonder in holding those new grandbabies.
They're amazing. They're such bright lights, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a joy. I'm the president of Falcon Investments and Insurance. It's an investment firm and insurance agency. I have a bachelor's degree in economics, a master's degree in what we call space operations, essentially electrical engineering, operations research. Had a interesting military career, got to do a number of things, traveled the world. One of my more enjoyable times was working with NASA and some of our satellite and space systems. In fact, the shuttle got mentioned in the booth, and I said, well, I've been in the shuttle. So I climbed around on it and been down at the Cape with it and some work. What else? I love to fly fish, and I have a Harley that I don't get to ride as much as I'd like.
There you go.
So that's kind of my therapy.
Your world just got a lot busier now with your election to the trustees. How did you come about the decision to want to be involved with the college?
I had been interested in politics for some time and had been considering some different ways to serve in the community, and had been approached over the last several years to maybe get more involved in some things. I've been particularly watching the college, and some folks approached me this year and had asked if I'd be interested in serving in this capacity. I was encouraged by the candidacies, let's get that out right, of Ron and Paul, and thought that maybe I could be the third of the three amigos, I guess, and take a shot at see what we could do to further the great mission of this college.
Right.
Well, Todd, talk a little bit about what you would like to accomplish as a trustee here at North Idaho College.
Well, there are several what I'll call goals. I don't know if that's really the right word, but I'm a fiscal conservative, so I'm interested in just making sure that the college is efficient and striking that balance between being an educational institution and being a good financial steward for the community and itself, to the taxpayer. I have a real passion to see that the kids that come here, and I use the word kids kind of loosely, not everybody's in their 20s here, we have adults obviously, but that whatever track they pick, whether it's to get a certificate or a 2-year degree or to go on for a 4-year degree at one of the other colleges, is that we prepare them for that and that we give them some life skills and job skill sets that are marketable. Again, I was back there visiting with some of Philippe's kids, and I was so impressed because they're teaching them interview skills and how to prepare a resume, and the things that they're doing are real life applications, and they're employed and they have jobs and they're making money with what they're learning. And a great real world application, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to prepare these kids for success and give them a return on this investment that they're making, the money that they're spending, the time to attend school here, and allow them to acquire a job, but not just a job in what they're studying, in their field of interest, and help them to feed themselves, become productive members of society. And that's my passion there.
It really is. Education changes your life, and you mentioned getting the skills and some of those skills that we don't normally think of. We say, oh, you're going to go and be an electrical engineer, or you're going to study welding, or you're going to go into philosophy, or whatever it might be. But it's those skills such as learning how to interview, how to land the job, and then how to keep the job. Those are really important skills, and that's what I like about the comprehensive nature of the college here, is that we're able to take that approach that maybe a more traditional structured setting at a 4-year might not have the flexibility to do. So I think it's one of the great things about a community college. It can really connect with its community, and the North Idaho community is so diverse. So we just welcome you here to the team, and I think you're already finding that the greatest joy of being here is interacting with our students. They are tremendous. They
really are.
Yeah, it's great.
Bright.
Well, Todd, I know you've spent some time learning about the college, and that there is a little bit of a learning curve, but you've been very active already in attending events and meeting people and getting out there to see what our students are doing, and so we certainly appreciate that. And can you talk a little bit about that learning curve?
I sure can, but one thing I do want to touch on, something I considered, I'll use the word, I thought it was a blessing actually for my wife and I, was to attend the scholarship celebration.
Right.
To me, that's one of the places where the rubber really hits the road. We're meeting these kids that are getting the financial assistance, and we're hearing their stories about how this financial assistance is changing their lives. And then sitting right there at the table with them are the people that are sponsoring those scholarships, so they're getting to see where their money's going and the influence that they're having in a young person's life. And I thought that was a great event, and was really glad to be able to be a part of that.
Brings it all home, doesn't it? Just what we're doing and for whom we do it for. So
you hear the young man from Priest River, you hear the single mom with the daughter, and they're able to succeed because of the structure that's here and the support.
It's great.
Yeah, that's right. At graduation time, when you hear the stories of these students and the barriers they've overcome, it will literally bring tears to your eyes. Well, Todd, thank you very much for being here today to talk a little bit about who you are and letting the community know. And again, we're very glad to have you here, and congratulations on your election.
So, Joe, pleasure as always, and Todd, welcome to the team. We appreciate everyone being here. That's all the time we have for today. We want to make sure that you know that you can watch this throughout the next month on Channel 19, Coeur d'Alene Television, and anytime on our website at nic.edu. Join us next time. We'll take a look at the upcoming legislative session and the impact that it'll have on education here in Idaho. Thanks, everyone.